Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bee Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. I'm here today with Carol Gilberti. Have I got the surname right, Carol?
Yes, you do. Yes, it's perfect.
Yeah, because it's actually Carolina, your name, isn't it? Or is it? Yeah. So what a beautiful
It
name.
is. It is.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's because in Brazil, the nickname for Carolina is Carol. So I kind of adopted this stage name, let's say.
I've got a stage name too. I'm a bee, like a bumblebee, but my actual real name's Belinda.
Yeah.
But the nickname for a Belinda is generally Belle, but I'm certainly not a Belle. I'm a bee.
Oh.
So, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's B. It's
Yeah, it's bee.
officially B.
Yeah,
Yeah.
officially
Uh-huh.
bee. But Carol, I'm so excited to have you on board today, and there is so much for us to chat about. But firstly, I'd love you to, give us your backstory, what you're doing now, and yeah, and I guess really the fact that you are making such a huge impact with women in tech, and knowing you've got the two children yourself, and always thinking about that next
Yes.
generation. I'd love to unpack and yeah, hear all about you and what you're about.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I would love to first thank you for the invitation. I was glad we got connected. This world with no boundaries nowadays,
Yeah,
because of of technology and all the facilities we have to be in contact with people. I'm in Brazil, so
yes.
almost 12 hours apart.
I
But that is not an obstacle when you
know. No,
have
they're not.
technology on your side.
Yeah.
So, well, yes, like you said, I am a mother of two. I think that's the first role that
Mm,
we need to I have to say. Um, and I'm going through a very defying time with my teenager. I have a 14-year-old teenager in my
yeah.
home, a boy,
Oh,
Victor, and I also have Sophia. She's 8.
mm,
And I have been married for almost 21 years, and I'm
wow.
married to a Brazilian. We live in Brazil. We live in a city called Belo Horizonte, which means beautiful horizon, because we have a lot of mountains
Oh,
and we can
wow.
see there is a beautiful horizon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's located in the southeast of the country. So if just to have
Yeah.
people locate themselves. We are near São Paulo and Rio, which
Oh,
are the
okay.
most famous cities in Brazil. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we are in the southeast of Brazil.
Yeah.
So, but we are one of the biggest states. We are the mining state. We are an
Okay.
interstate. We have no we don't have shore, but we do have mountains and waterfalls, which is
Wow.
beautiful. And we do have the best food in the country
Yes.
and best
Yes.
hospitality too.
Yeah.
So this is a bit about my hometown, but I have lived in other places.
Yeah.
I have lived in São Paulo ever since I was a child. So I was born in Belo, but I went to São Paulo as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And my first childhood was there, the first years of my childhood. But then my father was a businessman and he got transferred to the United States. So I got the opportunity at a very early age, at 9 years old, to live in a new country, new land. And this is in the 80s, where there was no internet,
Oh, wow.
no iPhones,
Yeah.
no communication
Those were
besides
the
the
days,
regular
right?
land phone. Yeah, in letters, a lot of letters written to my friends. So I did get to be there for about 7 years. I lived first in Texas. I
Mm-hmm.
did not acquire a Texan accent, just for a little bit. But then after that, I went to Seattle,
Yeah.
to Washington, the state of Washington, because my dad also got transferred there for another project. And so the whole family went. So I had this opportunity to be able to learn the language as a native speaker and to live the culture as a whole and get to open up my mind about the world. I
Yeah.
studied at public schools, which I know it's very common in some countries, but in Brazil, our middle class usually studies in private schools.
Yeah, right.
So this is something that I had the privilege of living. After we came back to Brazil. We lived in Belo. We came to Belo because of my dad's job.
Hmm.
I lost my mom at a very early age, so this is was something that made me want to you know, search for answers that I didn't have as
Yeah,
a
I'm
young
sorry to hear about
woman.
that.
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much. It's been almost 30 years. It's going to be 30 years next year, so it was 1996. Uh, so I had to learn how to, go on, but just live and be independent. My mom had always, and my mom and dad had always raised me to be an independent woman. I come from a family of two daughters. I'm the oldest, and I have a sister. Her name is Marina. She
Yeah.
lives in the United States, and she's married. I have two nieces there. Actually, one is she's living with me for the past 8 months. She's going to be here for the next 3 months. So it's like an exchange student,
Yeah,
but at
that's
her
cool.
aunt's house. So she lives in Florida, can you imagine the American suburbs? And then suddenly she's in Brazil. She's discovering a whole new world. It's just like I went when I was young.
Yeah.
So it's a very good experience too. So nowadays I have three children in my house. But anyways, I've always been a very communicative person
Mm.
and very into people, into stories, and very willing, wanting to impact and change the world somehow. I
I
mean,
love
I
that.
know that I'm just
It's
I
like
know
it
I'm
so
just a little
excited.
drop.
Sorry, it gets me so excited hearing this that, impact and changing the world. I love hearing this.
Because I mean, we do have to think that the littlest things that we do, they do create an impact, even if
Mm,
it's around your home,
mm,
if it's around your neighborhood, your block, or your city. It doesn't have to be a huge, but it's something that reverberates along other communities and other clusters and other people and other. So I mean, it's better doing something than not doing anything. Or so there's a very famous saying from Mother Teresa,
hmm.
and she says, "I am just a drop of water in the ocean, but without that drop, the ocean would not be the same."
No, I've
So
never
I
heard
think
that
that's what we
quote.
have to think about when we're
Yeah.
thinking about impact and change.
Yeah.
It's something that I have like running through my veins. It's something that and then the this universe, women's universe for me, because I am a woman today. I am 47,
I'm
so I have
47.
lived
There you go.
a
Snap. I'm
good.
47 as well. I'm not ashamed to
Really, we're from
say it.
70.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed
Oh
to
God,
say
neither
it.
am I.
I'm like,
I
bring it
am
on.
proud, actually. I am very proud of my age. I'm very proud of my experience and my gray hair and what I've accomplished along this journey called life as a woman,
Mm,
because we know that women have it a bit more stiff for them, more it's harder for us
mm,
to get places and to
mm.
be heard and to be seen.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I've always been a very active mind and an active person, and very unsettling. I was never very satisfied with things. So I started going into the entrepreneur world.
Mm,
I am a journalist. I have a degree in journalism. So
mm.
I did go into communications because I think that communications is a very powerful tool for change.
Yes.
Information,
Yes.
having the knowledge, being informed by research and numbers and data. That is the most powerful thing you can have, just like education. So this nobody takes away from you, right? You can have a car one day, it can be, you know, you can lose it. You can have a home, you can lose it. But education and knowledge is something that nobody can take it away from you. And you're going to carry it all over with you wherever you go, no matter where you are in the social, place in the universe. But
And I also think that,
so
sorry, there's also this, I love
yeah.
you talking about that because even doing my background research on you, I always do, but there's that constant learning, that's that continuously learning, when you talk about the story of life and, you can't take away knowledge like you say away, but there's also that need and desire to want to continue to learn, because that's the only way you can continue to then make the change and impact like you're talking about. And what a time to be living in this world we're in right now. There's just so much we can learn at this point in time.
Exactly.
Mm.
And at the same time, B, it's very important for us to filter because there is so much information and so much
100%.
content. And I mean, I am so in favor of a democratic world, but I think that in terms of communication, the social media has opened up
Oh, yeah.
a gap, like a, a door that we need to pay attention to it, because anyone can have a channel, can
Mm,
have a way to
absolutely.
talk and speak, but it comes with a lot of responsibility having a voice. It
Mm,
comes with responsibility because you are reaching out to so many people,
mm,
and it doesn't matter if you have 100 followers or 100 million followers. The this responsibility has the same weight because we do affect people's lives. And when you do call yourself a specialist in something, you have to have things that can sustain that,
yeah.
right? You
Absolutely.
need to have, right? I always say this as a journalist. If I give somebody news, if I'm giving somebody information, I do need to say where I got that from, and the source that I had it from, and which research is it. Was it Harvard? Was it McKinsey? Was it,
Mm, mm,
I'm not making, it's not something that I'm getting out of my mind, just like, oh, I heard it somewhere, I heard it through the grapevines. No.
mm,
We need to have responsibility with
mm,
information.
mm.
So this is something very serious to me, but I realize that it's very powerful when it's used with a lot of wisdom.
Mm.
So with that, I also chose to be an entrepreneur and to help entrepreneur women to find their way and their businesses. So today I am one of the founders, and also I am the CEO of Mubius, which is my company. It's a WomenTech. It's a venture builder in Brazil that helps women in technology with startups to thrive. And so we give them tools and knowledge and information
Mm,
for them to reach higher places, for them to reach to have access to funding, to have access to clients, to market, to governance. So all of this, we help them to reach higher places. So what we do is we are creating a portfolio of 30 businesses that we believe have the ability and the power to become a big business.
yeah, I love
So
that.
we invest in them, yeah, and we have some equity. We That's how we negotiate. So
Mm.
we become partners, with we align with these companies. We become partners to work together to make this happen.
So
So basically,
are you almost like a guiding light with them when you say you have, equity and you partner and collaborate, knowing all your experience and, that you're almost, yeah, like you say, you're taking them to the next level, ensuring that they thrive. Would you say that you're more like that
yeah.
guiding light that, kind of taking them on the journey to steer them and ensure that they scale in the right direction? Because, sometimes you can scale fast and then crash, or how do you scale
Oh yeah.
sustainably? Like,
That's exactly it. We give them the tools and the knowledge to scale um, in a very organized and um, safe for, not that, I mean, when we talk about VCs, venture capital,
mm,
and
mm,
the this kind of segment that we're talking about with innovation and startups,
mm,
it's always a risk because it's venture capital.
mm,
So it is risky. Most of the businesses do not, reach the highest places. They die before, they even get to the first client sometimes.
Mm.
So we come in exactly at that point where the startup has nowhere to go anymore, and it needs to, break through that we call the death valley, where usually most of them die and
Yeah.
do not go on. So we kind of come in, become these, we're actually strategic partners.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we're very hands-on.
Yeah.
We really get involved in the operation, the strategy, and we bring in people who are specialists, people who know about the market, who can make connections, who can bring in the smart money. And so we kind of give them a more robust structure so they can have muscles to run those laps that they'll have to run for the next few years. So basically, we become this an ally with to them, to give them all this the strength that they need to
Yeah.
get there,
Okay.
because we know it's hard, it's very difficult, and it being a woman, it's even more difficult, especially in Brazil, where we still have a lot of you know social and cultural things that we need to to overcome in society because of the relationship with men and women.
Yeah, and the
It's still a
equality,
lot of,
right? There's that whole equality piece
oh
that
yeah.
still going on. Tell me, with regards to, when you say get, strengthening their muscle, getting them to, like be almost like, I call it anti-fragile. I don't know if you've heard that term before, but it's not just resilience. It's around how do you make a business, a person or a team anti-fragile, where they're continuing to bounce forward, not just bounce back, but bounce forward. There's a great book around being anti-fragile. With women, you would probably find a lot of fragile women at a point where they're, with their business, and it's kind of like, the term that you called out was Death Valley. What do you find is the
Hmm.
biggest blocker for these a lot of the time with the women, in terms of what's holding them back, or taking that next step?
Yeah, basically, I think that, and this is, I'm going to risk maybe saying that this is worldwide. It's one of the biggest barriers for women. It's the shifts, the journeys, the double, the triple journey that they have as moms, as housewives, as professionals, as I mean, the this load that comes with our reality. So if we're at work, we still have all that mental overload of school and the house and the grocery and the doctor and the medicine and the cleaning and the cooking so this is a social economic problem, I
Mm,
think, in most of the countries,
mm.
because most women still take over, or they are expected to be the leader of the home.
Yeah,
And I mean, this is, I'm saying that in Brazil, we're still facing these kinds of problems.
yeah,
I know that in more developed countries like Australia, and also the United States, maybe some states, not all of them, but some countries in Europe, right? Maybe Western Europe, the women have more. It's this balance between the domestic responsibilities is more equal between
mm,
men and women. So
mm,
it's an equation. It's a mathematical equation,
mm.
because how can you go out, leave your home to conquer 50% of the workforce if you're leaving behind your 50% at home? Who's going to be responsible
Mm.
to replace you?
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
so
Yeah.
if you take, yeah, if you take 100, and then how can you take 50 out there? It's mathematical. There's no way to take it out from anywhere unless you have a really conscious and aware partner that is beside you and will say, well, now it's your turn, or it's me, it's you. Let's try to give this a balance.
Mm.
And I believe that since Brazil is a very, very unequal social country, we have all kinds of layers of social income. I mean, there's a massive number of women who don't even have partners to even share this with.
Mm.
So they're single moms. We are a country of over 200 million people. So
Right. Yeah.
it's a huge country. Yeah.
And I call it, yeah,
So
I look, oh, sorry, you
yeah.
go.
No. I was going to say it's a big challenge. So I would just to finish my thinking here, I would say that the social and economic structure of our country in Brazil and the demands that the women still have would be one of the biggest barriers for them to succeed and
Mm,
thrive in their businesses, because
mm.
they do need to give up some of their private life to go after their professional life. It's a matter of balancing things.
Yeah, I hear you, and even from my own experience, I think the juggle is real, right? Like, in terms of, there was, as I was climbing, and I hate using that term now, climbing the corporate ladder, to get to
Yeah,
and to get to, things had to be sacrificed. I sacrificed certain things, and I look back now and
of
I'm,
course.
did I have to sacrifice it? Could have I found a different way? Because ultimately, when you sacrifice, it leads to, can lead to things like burnout or whatever, and so it's kind of like you talk about this notion of balance, and I see it as and I'd love your thoughts on this. It's like almost like a life work flow. So you can't just cut one off and then do the other. It's how do you get them to flow together so that you have that more of an equilibrium to be able to ensure that when you're in, your work, you're giving it your all, but also then when you're with your family, you're giving it your all. But it's not just a
Yeah.
cut and dry kind of way of doing it.
No, we are the same person. How can we like take away the layer of a mom to go to work and take the layer of the professional to come home?
Mm,
We are the same.
mm,
And I think this is something that companies nowadays are beginning to understand, that behind every company registration, there are people. Companies are made of people.
mm,
And if we don't look at these people as humans, I mean, if we can stay here all night and talk about what happened back in the industrial revolution, where we were made to be robots, in the
mm,
to do the same things and just result, and this resulted in a very unhealthy relationship with work,
mm,
right?
mm,
And this is something that, I mean, we can go back and say how we were conditioned to be.
mm,
We were conditioned to be results and numbers, and we didn't care about heart attacks, and we didn't even talk about mental health,
mm,
right, back then. And we are the children of baby boomers, right?
mm.
So our parents were baby boomers. We are Generation X, and we already carry this, like being with your doing nothing is wrong. You cannot just
Sit still.
think creatively, sit
Be present.
still.
You
Yeah.
can't just be present. I know. It's wild, isn't it? And there's
And
so
we need to
much.
break that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's, the opportunity we have, and even what you're doing from your business and working with the women and all the up and comings and that next generation, and your children, and I have three nieces and a nephew, and similar. I look at them and I think you guys have this opportunity, but it's about us helping them, but also supporting them to be able to have the best of both worlds, because I do think there's a possibility to have the best of both worlds and,
I agree.
redefine and reshape what it looks like going forward.
And this generation, the new generation, the millennials and the is it called the
Gen Zers
oh the
and
Z,
Alphas.
yeah.
Alphas.
They're the Gen Z. They're coming with this new mindset.
Mm,
Like I don't want to sacrifice my personal life to give my sweat, my blood, and my tears to a company. And I question if I say, are they wrong? Because I know our generation criticizes them.
mm,
Oh, they're lazy, they're too picky, and oh, I can't. We see all these the memes on the internet, like the Gen X
yeah,
is like all
yeah,
tough and everything, and the Gen Zs are like, no. I mean, I know it's a very like amplified vision of things. I mean, it's not like that. I mean, I think that we do need to question,
mm,
where we can trace this line and say, no,
mm,
I am not. I'm not going to work late today,
mm,
or I can't because I
mm,
need to go to my son's school presentation.
mm.
Because how many fathers, and this was mostly fathers, were taken away from these moments and did not create these bonds with their
Mm.
children.
Yeah, so true.
Our generation had these problems, right? So I mean, and then we start seeing why the world today is so mentally ill, because we were taking away a lot of the main and most important things in our lives, which is intimacy with the ones we love
Mm,
and closeness with the people we love, taking parents away from kids because they needed to be at work.
mm.
That's almost like a it's crazy to think that,
Yeah,
in my opinion. So when we do talk about women entrepreneurs, we have to bring this to the table because we need them to we need them and their partners to have compromises
yeah,
between them. Otherwise,
absolutely.
it's not going to happen.
Absolutely. Carol, I feel like we need a part two in terms of we've talked a lot today around, society, social norms, what you're doing from, a women in tech piece. But I do feel like we need a part two conversation to get into more around your business. And, I'd love to dive deeper into the VCs and, like just all like the way you collaborate and your strategy. So I'm not sure if you'd be open to having a part two conversation with me. But we
Of
will have
course.
we will have to leave it here today.
Yeah.
What would you say is your number one focus right now in working with the women you're working with, knowing everything we've talked about today?
So, thinking about the 12 startups that are in our portfolio today, our main focus on most of them is funding,
Mm,
is getting them to see the money, is making their businesses, you know, to be seen and to be heard and to be valued for what they are worth, so
mm,
they can be funded to go to the next stage.
mm.
Because we know that startups, they start with the seed, pre-seed, seed, angel, and then series A, series B. Our goal is to take these women to the next level, like I said in the beginning of our conversation, but also to make them be successful and live through their businesses,
Yeah, I love that. Live
to
through
be
their
sustainable.
businesses. I love that. Well, thank you,
So yeah, they
Carol.
need, but they do need money. So right, every
Yeah.
business does need
Everyone,
money. So
yeah,
that's what we're
everyone
looking
needs
for.
money. Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you, Kat.
Yeah.
And where can we find more out about you and what you're doing and the impact you're making in the world?
Oh yes. You guys can follow me on Instagram through Mubius. It's at Mubius, and that's Mubius, Women Tech Ventures. Also through my LinkedIn, which is Carol Gilberti, uh, on my LinkedIn. And basically, those are my and if you want to know more about Mubius, there's also the Mubius.ventures, which is our
Thank you.
website.
Well, I'll share this in the notes when I post. But I look forward to having our part two
Thank you.
conversation with you. And
Oh, I am also. Thank you.
thank you, Carol.
Thank you, B. It was a pleasure being here with you. And let's do this part two. Okay.
Thank
I'm looking
you.
forward to it.
Okay, thank you.